Welcome everyone. This is the Training and AutoML community call on 29th of October. As always, we're going to record this call and publish on YouTube afterwards, and we follow CNCF code of conduct. So as always, like we start this call with a quick introduction. Do you have any new people who are just here on the call who just want to say hello to the community? Just maybe want to introduce yourself. Um, yeah, Rob, go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure I've got all my settings right, but hey, yeah, I'm Rob Bell, software engineer here at Red Hat. I joined a couple of weeks ago, but I've actually been using Kubeflow for yeah, a couple of years now. So excited to be here and excited to be working with everyone.
It's great. Thanks for joining, Rob. Anyone else want to say hi? Yeah.
I can go next. Hi, I'm Vaishnavi. I work at Nutanix AI in San Jose office. I've been using Kubeflow Trainer since like 2 months now, and I'm excited to contribute here.
That's great. Thanks for joining these calls. Yeah, feel free to drop any questions if you have, like, or any kind of follow-up discussions you want to have. Happy to, to chat more about it, about these new APIs.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, I'm Kalan Kumar. I'm working in Birlasoft. Um, just new to here. I need to explore still. Thanks.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for joining. Anyone else? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Darshan. I've been with Apple for close to 11 years now. I'm core Cube storage maintainer as well. So my team started using AIML recently, and I'm excited to be part of the community and learn more.
Thanks for joining, Darshan.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm Andre's colleague here at Apple, and I'm just joining for educational purposes. I support customers and need to know more about Kubeflow to do my job. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Peter. All right. Yeah, with that, like, let me share my screen. We can go quickly over the items to talk about today. Yeah, so feel free to, if you have some time today to talk about other topics. I think we have the cap to and talk about with the train job progress bar, progress status. But if you have any other topics, feel free to add this to the agenda. So I think first of all, we need to speak about release and like I think like we're planning to do 2.1 before KubeCon as we talked last time. I think first of all, I kind of like want to ask maybe do we want to have another RC? Release candidate like one before we make the official release? What do we think about it? I know there are a couple of PRs we still need to merge before maybe we can cut the another RC, like especially like this S3 initializer and maybe data cache. I need to follow up with Akshay to see like, whether any PRs we need to do before we can cut the official release to support data cache. I think we also have like this workflow for publishing charts. I know we have the pending PR that maybe we can mark to the milestone. It's this one, 2906. So this needs definitely to be reviewed. So if you like, for anyone else, like if you can help us to review those PRs, that would be super helpful for us because we kind of like in the period of time when we need to cut release. And right now we kind of need to move fast to, review those PRs and provide any kind of, so contributors can address our suggestions and recommendations. So those two, I would say blocking issues. Anything else we might think? I mean, then from your side, do you have anything blocking for us to make a release?
On our side, I think we are good to go on the trainer side, yeah.
I also know there are a couple of kind of open PRs to introduce this local execution example with the Kubeflow SDK. I guess like we don't need to block release, right, to contribute examples, right?
Yeah, and that's on the SDK side, the one you mentioned. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, and that doesn't block. Yeah, we maybe we want to have it in the trainer repo, but yeah, it's definitely not blocking.
Okay, sounds good. So then I guess like my only question, do we want to cut another RC1 in some time, maybe this week after we merge those two PRs?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah. Let's get those two PR reviewed and merged. And yeah.
Do you kind of let me ask you like maybe this question. So for now, do you do any testing on like on the Red Hat side with the RC so we can at least verify that everything is working?
So I'm not sure they've tested the RC1, but yes, I mean we are in the process of integrating V2. We can we can definitely rebase what we are currently doing on the latest release candidate. Yes.
Yeah, I think having some sort of staging environment would be nice for us. Like we will never get the
Yes.
chance to to properly have it in upstream. We kind of rely on the customers and users to,
Yeah. Yeah.
provide any feedback. Um, yeah, I'm kind of like curious, like, do you think we can, maybe inherit some of the best practices from other projects? Or maybe like my question is like this RC kind of period of time we have before we cut the official
Mm,
release, like
mm,
how
mm.
efficiently we can use this time. Do you have any ideas?
Not like that. That's a good question. Yeah, how can we make it more efficient to get feedback and make sure the final release has been like properly tested?
Yep.
I wonder what's being done for Kubernetes as they are cutting release candidate. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they have some processes and maybe some ideas we could incorporate.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I know that, for example, like in the Kubeflow manifest, what we do, we kind of had this distribution testing phase where distributions who kind of participate in the release, they can take the manifest and just try them out on their own distribution. And I think they have like we give them I think 2 weeks before they can provide a feedback to the
Right. Yeah.
community and we address them, right?
And yeah, it's a good, as you say, like it's a good opportunity as well to do some integration testing between components. But
Yeah.
yeah. Mm,
I think the trick is there, like we never get the chance to actually, have some sort of release schedule for the projects, the standalone projects.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
like, the distribution consumes the entire Kubeflow manifest and, or they're using their own distribution and they kind of like tie to this deadline that the, manifest working group or release working group, tell them to do. Um,
Yeah, I guess it's probably a larger discussion than just the
yeah.
trainer. Then yeah, who could coordinate across components.
I don't think we have any kind of right now good practice for, like across different, I don't even think that KFP has any, like
Mhm. Yeah,
RC testing right now, if it's, outside of
probably. Yeah.
Kubeflow manifest releases. Yeah, but a good thing, like, maybe understand like what Kubernetes is doing, it's good for us. But I think like so my expectation here, like, once we kind of at least have more users of Train Job, like they kind of at least
Yeah.
participate in those
Yeah.
calls, so kind of give a feedback. So then we can, at least give them 2 weeks notice or 2 weeks time to test RCs before
It
we cut.
might be so. So I agree. It's a great idea, and maybe also discuss what could be done the Kubeflow project level. Like, I don't know if there are some sort of like integration testing across component somewhere. I'm thinking at the moment right now, like between, for example, Katib and the trainer to make sure that when new releases are being cut, it's
Yeah, yeah. So I
properly.
think like yeah, I know we do have some testing in the manifest. So Julius was working on some
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
performance
Okay.
testing, and it's testing in the entire Kubeflow platform with all
Yeah.
the
So that's great. Yeah.
together. Um, I think the trick is there, like, like Kubeflow platform, Kubeflow manifest. So I think right now we call Kubeflow AI reference platform releases.
Mm.
It teach everything, and like for those type of releases, it can definitely allows us to identify some bugs. The problem is like we won't be synchronized,
Yes.
between
Yeah.
our RCs and their RCs.
Absolutely.
So it is kind of very tricky, right? Um, since you also joined, maybe like from your point of view, like we're kind of like discussing like, is there any way for us to ask users for the feedback on the release candidates. And if you have any ideas or suggestions, like what we can do better to, enhance the ability of releases moving forward.
Sorry, so I am currently just joining this meeting. So what kind of release? So 2.1.0, right?
Yeah. We still kind of on schedule to release 2.1 in before KubeCon, so this or next week. Our question was about like how we can gather more feedback from end users during this RC, multiple RCs we have before official release.
Oh, I see. I think we can directly go to stable release because as I can check in our repository, so we already have RC version, right?
Yeah. I think our question more about long term, like in KQ, for example, project. Like, do you kind of expect customers test KQ before you officially release it, or is organically, just moving forward towards two?
Good question. Yeah. Um, I think it's challenging to synchronize the effort across multiple community. So maybe the Pro Trainer should release any kind of version whenever we want, I think. So I do not want to make brokers in outside of community.
Yeah, kind of like, so right now, for example, in KQ project, you don't do any kind of customer engagement during RC periods, right? Like when you cut, or you don't even do RCs in KQ today, do you?
Um, in KQ project, yeah, so we typically release RC version, and the Google Cloud team collect user feedback from their customers, and after that, we reprioritize feature enhancement and bug fixes before stable release. However, I'm not sure if we can follow same approach in this Kubeflow trainer community.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So basically, in KQ, you have a dedicated team in Google Cloud in GCP, right? Who tests the RC and the community, all they kind of manage the communication with their users and customers, right? And, then.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Based on actually, so based on their customer feedback, we sometimes prioritize feature enhancement. So after we release RC version, the Google Cloud team ask whether or not the current feature is expected to run or not.
Yep.
So yeah, this is my answer.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think like they do the same for job set. I think for job set right now, like it's kind of like organically moving towards to, and if customers kind of like ask them to push some features, they do this, ASAP. And we also do releases on job set to kind of promote more features to the new releases. I think that definitely makes sense. Like I think like a more so my expectation here, like it's the customers who are adopting train job controller just work with us organically. And at least, like those 2 weeks can give them an opportunity to test, new version of their environment. And at least tell us everything is okay, something is broken. And I understand, like, some teams managing differently. Some teams might be, 2 releases behind the upstream. This is like, for example, with how many folks leveraging Kubernetes in production. But I really hope we can, build this connection with the end users. Otherwise, it's really challenging for us, detect bugs and I mean, before we kind of pushing the official release, right? We kind of like then we need to do a lot of patch releases to fix those bugs. So anyway,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
so before we move on, like since you're here, like any feedback from your side on 2.1 release? We just discussed that we have two pending PRs before we can cut officially. It's one is like S3 initializer, and the second one is this Helm charts publishing. Anything from your side we should include?
No. Actually, this is first time for those PLs. Um, yeah, but so as you mentioned, so you want to publish this version in next week, right? So
Yeah, before
what is
Kubeflow. Yep.
what is progressing in those PRs?
Yeah, so I think like the S3 I already kind of reviewed in LGTM. I'm waiting like from another approver to LGTM it. On the Helm chart publishing, and kind of like I think I review it like by end of this week. And it should be relatively easy to move forward. I think my only question, I think we merged several other PRs. We might need to cherry pick them, right, to the release branch. Like this fix for Helm charts that you, Antonio, I think push, right? And another PR for the manager config. I'm wondering if we already cherry pick them. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
sounds
do.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we do. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, only two of these, like this S3 initializer, right? PR that we didn't merge, right? Um,
Mm.
so no other PRs, right? Yuki, from your side, you want to include, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then we can move on. Anything else for the release?
Oh, um, so actually, so we have some of bug fix PRs, right? So what? So let me check PR numbers. So concurrency problems for training runtime.
Hmm. Did you already
Uh,
merge it or it's still in progress?
or this 2874.
Oh yeah, thread safe. Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes sense. I think you last time we discussed that this is not the blocking, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. No blocking. Yes, this is nice to have
Do we
for the next
like? Did
release.
you get a chance to review it?
Not yet.
I
Oh,
think
last week. Yeah.
yeah. If you think this is safe to go, we can definitely merge it. I don't think it's kind of a huge risk. It's
Mhm.
just just for KQ convenience, right? I'm fine to move this forward.
Yeah, sure. So let me check after this committee meeting.
Yeah, thank you. I will mark this as a milestone then.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Sounds great.
No,
So yeah, moving to the SDK. Like so quickly, do you want to like go through the items or do you want me to go through these milestone items?
Um, you ask me?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like if you have anything from your side to talk about here.
Yeah, I think that the main ones are these options in HPO. And then nice to have will be local execution mode as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the options definitely. I know, Antonin, you reviewed this, and I think you also left some comments. I think I also need to take a look on this. For HPO, I need to address your questions, and I think we kind of should be ready to go, at least for the initial implementation for your KubeCon demo.
We
Uh, yeah,
also need to cut new release for Katip.
yeah, yeah. I added it here, so we need to do the KTIP 0.18
Oh, yeah.
before we release SDK, and I can definitely do this. Any objections to release KTIP right now? Um, Yeah, I know there are a couple of, there are a lot of PRs and a lot of things we need to work on. Maybe we can postpone them. This, I think they're not blocking, as I can see test is still working fine. So I can definitely release maybe 0.18 by 0.19 actually by end of this week. Um, if we don't have any objections to that.
so we may want to support latest Kubernetes version. So I'm not sure which Kubernetes version is supported in the current Cardiff project.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. I know Xiao has been working on to update the Kubernetes version. Let me see if we merge his PRs. Yeah, 1.34. Yep.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, 1.34 is the latest version. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just didn't upgrade the Go version, right? Do we think it's kind of we need to do it before we release it? Oh, 1.424 actually. It is. Um, we should be good, right? Yeah, I think it's 1.24 for China right now as well.
Yeah, so we potentially upgrade Go version to be 1.25, but that is not a broker for the next release, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, in that case, let me just release KDIP. I think like the test is still passing. I just merged the PR a couple of hours ago with this new, get job logs API. So it looks to be working fine. Unfortunately, I still need to manually release it because we don't have any automation in KDIP right now. Yeah, so for the SDK, my only question for the Docker execution, I know Fiona has been working on this, right? Do we want to so what is our kind of priorities? I guess options and HPO, right? For the Docker one, what is your expectation there?
I will review that PR maybe today, tomorrow, and if it's close, and I'm happy to remerge it before the release.
Okay.
I haven't even looked at that. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm fine. Anthony, do you have any objections? If we
No, I think it's fairly good to go. I gave it a review, and on my side, it should be good to go for the release. Yeah.
Right. Then I guess if anyone here on the call want to help us with reviewing PRs, I think that would be super helpful. So we're talking about this um, what is it? The Docker, yeah, Docker and Podman's support for the backends. So it's good the PR to take a look and provide any suggestions here for the improvements. And so let me mark the milestone for now here. I think another one for custom trainer container, which is kind of low risk, right? That I think I opened 2 days ago.
I have a quick question regarding that. I haven't really looked at that yet, but what's the difference of providing the image within options that Avjit has been working on?
Yeah, we kind of talk about it 2 weeks ago. So I tried to so while I was collecting feedback from MLEs regarding our HPO API, one of the kind of feedback was options are great, but sometimes so it's hard for MLE to understand all the options, and then they're more kind of for the power users. And we have a lot of teams who kind of prepared images for MLE, so have some automation, and they don't want to use options, they just want to directly use the trainer because the image is the concept of the trainer. And they want to have a way to provide the image within their basically the train job entry point. Similar to what right now I have in training operator. They don't want to use options because in options, because we have 3 parts of trainer, we have initializer, trainer, and runtime. And yes, we can provide an options like trainer image, but this is less explicit than having the specific trainer type for their entry point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think that makes sense. I don't see them mutually exclusive. I think yeah, option probably are more like for power users but it should not be the only way. My understanding is that so that custom trainer container, and maybe that an attempt to answer your question, Anya. To me, actually, and it should be what the custom trainer is, in the sense. Let me explain, and that touches on the discussion we had with Saad, where he mentioned the connection between the trainer in the SDK and the runtime. A custom trainer at the moment, it's only the API, like the semantic is that the end user can provide a custom training loop. And within that training loop, it can be a lot of different things, like transformer-based training loop or whatever. And so a custom trainer, if we think about custom, it should really be what I think, Andre, you've created there, where that's an entire new runtime that a custom runtime, including the image, including the entry point. And I'm saying I don't have a strong opinion, but really because to me I see a connection to what Sada has been trying to suggest the other day, where I don't know if you remember, Andre, but we Saad has idea where there would be a stronger correlation between the trainer in the SDK and the runtime. And I think it touches on that in that what you've created there. But it feels to me it might need a bit of time to properly find the right way to design it, in the sense that well, and I apologize if it's not 100% clear, but let's take what Saad had in mind, is that unfortunately he's not there today. But basically, I think you were suggesting that. You're there. So you joined maybe. So have you been able to listen to what I've said for the last 5 minutes, Saad?
Yes. I was
Okay.
here
Okay, cool.
almost from the beginning.
Okay, cool.
And
Does
I
that
added a
make
document.
sense?
Yeah, it does. It does
Yeah.
make sense. I added a quick document though to the meeting notes, and I made sure to share it with the group here. It's still like it's not final yet, so I'm still trying to think about it. I'm trying to describe the problem. I'm trying to describe what is it we want to do, like implementing a set of trainers and the limitations we have with a custom trainer, built-in trainer, and we can build on top of this. And I think that will be like another way, like we can take it moving forward with the other proposal as well and other things. So that will give us this kind of flexibility if we have sort of maybe specialized trainers or trainers that are aligned with runtimes. The design, don't judge me on the design yet. I just like very roughly, I spent like 1 hour writing down what I had in my mind early in the morning. So it's not fully polished and finalized yet. So feel free though to leave your comments and leave what you're thinking about it, and we can like maybe focus on it at some point, at some other point.
Yeah, I think this is great. Like, I think like definitely would love for us to spend time to design more kind of maybe framework specific trainers. I think this is what we're talking about, right? And if they are become useful, because eventually, like what custom trainer can allow you to do is kind of like can distribute any type of code across a distributed cluster. It doesn't need to be ML, right? Code. It can be any type of function, and we just provide you a way to kind of run this across multiple machines in kind of like right environment, right, for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, and if I may just expand on what you said, Andre, is that that includes the runtime, and I think that's the key value proposition of what Saad has been writing there, like to have a stronger mapping between the trainer on the SDK side with the runtime. And at the moment, the custom trainer is fairly loose, like and actually, so that's maybe like, so that I think we need to consider like to give proper review to Saad document, and also the to connect back to your PR. The only thing that I see, maybe whether we should have it included into the upcoming release, as far as I can understand or I can see, is that ideally, if we were to go that path that Saad is proposing, actually we would change the what you've created in the PR.
Yeah.
The custom container runtime trainer would become the custom trainer.
Yeah, that makes sense. So just one statement on this, like, Rob, before I pass to you. So I think my question is like, are we okay to tolerate breaking changes to the SDK? I think the answer is probably yes. I mean, what do you think? Because we're still kind of in a very like 0 point something state.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I would. That would be my opinion as well.
Because even like the SAT proposal will break existing API, right?
Yeah, true, absolutely. Yeah.
It does break it to some extent, but like in my proposal, I'm not planning to remove the custom trainer because it still gives some flexibility, and the built-in trainer will be a base trainer. That's kind of like all the built-in trainers should be created from. To some extent, I'm supporting backward compatibility on the runtime. Specific configuration might be passed into through like a runtime specific object. And this will also be extendable because like you will allow the runtime, specific runtimes to define its own like a specific configuration. So let's say you have a runtime class, runtime config class, which provides most of the runtime required information and configuration. And then you can have a specific MPI runtime class, which is derived from the base one, and that will add maybe extra stuff if you feel like you need to add extra on top of that. So what we will package in the SDK, I think will cover most of the runtimes and backend plugins that we have in the trainers and the trainer backend, but also it will open the floor to users to extend this and pass their own specific runtime configuration as long as it's being used or can be like adjusted or used by the SDK to inject that into the trainer CRD, into the train job CRD. So as long as it can be translated, it will be useful. If not, it won't be as useful as it should be.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I think there's actually, Sad, so I wasn't aware that you were working on this. I think this is really neat, and it has some nice synergies with the things that I've been proposing in that KEP around actually injecting code into the runtime to provide a better integration with the actual controller manager. So in my case, reporting progress metrics back. I don't know if you've had a chance to read the updates that I've made to that document, but that KEP. But I think we have a look.
Yeah, I think my proposal makes your proposal easier to implement, at least from the SDK side. This is how it should be implemented. Then any additional attributes or items from SDK side that can be like implemented by this KEP. So it's kind of somehow related, both of them. So it's good that we're on the same page.
Darshan, I see you have a question around Kubeflow SDK doc. You mean the design doc, or
Yeah, I just need the doc. I couldn't find it.
yeah?
Mind
So
share it.
yeah, we do have this initial design doc for what the Kubeflow SDK is about, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think it's somewhere here. But it's
Okay.
kind of more
Got it.
high level idea why we created this, what is the end goal, and what we should do. Let me share it here.
We do need a dedicated website with generated.
We're working on a website right now just to explain what is it about. I think this is great. I mean, I kind of like my only question is, so we do have a blocker for some of users who want to use images and adopting this SDK. I'm kind of want to understand like what are our plans like? Do we want to postpone this and discuss this proposal after 0.2, or do we want to merge it and discuss this proposal after 0.2? Like, what do you think we should do here? Alternatively, we can just introduce image in the custom trainer. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would say like we can release the order 2 as planned and then focus on that proposal. And
Yeah, I think my only kind of expectation in the future custom trainer container can be used to build an image. So we want to have a give capability, right, to automatically build an image from the user workspace, which we might.
well, yeah, we will have to find a way. But I mean, well, are you saying that this would mandate that we have the PR for the custom container trainer merge for the other 2? That's what you're saying, Andre?
Yes, and probably like in the future, like in your proposal set, is it any like your trainers, do they conflict with this trainer which allows you to build an image from the user workspace?
Yeah, so like I think that could be added as a capability inside the trainers. Like if the image building and image customizing is part of like the base trainers that we drive from, we don't have to re-implement it. That is like why we need sort of inheritance or like hierarchy for the trainers. So the common functionality will be in the base trainer, and as long as you're forking the base trainer, you can just use it. So we don't need the Wiz options anymore, but we can like implement the functionality only once in these kind of trainers. And the good thing as well, we should be just checking if this trainer is implementing the abstract classes or the abstract methods in the base trainer or in like the abstract trainer on the interface, then we can just use it. If it is not implemented, you're not allowed to override with this trainer. You have to use a suitable one, or you create your own. Creating your own trainer would be easier and trivial, hopefully, because you can just like use PyTorch trainer and implement the missing functionality, and then you're good to go. That's like it opens the floor. We'll give you as much as we can to extend the trainers, but you can extend it with the missing functionality or design it the way you like for your environment and your runtime. I don't know if that good enough to answer this part, or
Yeah, and you need to definitely take a look in your doc, like, and spend time because, like, I kind of like want to say, like, what is the proposition of the runtime from the MLE perspective? Because initial goal of runtime, they fully managed by platform administrators. Yes, there is a concept of runtime from the SDK perspective, like that you can have a reference to the runtime, but MLE don't really managing those runtimes. However, like I can see a use case when MLE maybe want to develop something, submit this as a job, see this as running, and maybe submit this, image or configurations as their kind of reusable template, some sort of, right? But this reusable template needs to be MLE friendly. Like, for
yeah,
example, Emily doesn't really understand what is Kubernetes. What does it mean to set up, failure policies or volume claims? So we need to find a way how to make it kind of Emily friendly, those
yeah.
templates. Mhm.
I agree. I only have one problem, to be honest, with overriding the image. And sorry, Anya, for answering this question is obviously here. So like in compliant environment or kind of, I don't know, like FIPS compliance environment or FIPS environments, would the image overriding or like removing and adding a new image, should that be allowed? Should we give the MLOps engineer a capability to kind of dictate which fields can be overwritten or overridden, like, and which ones cannot be? Which ones can the user provide another value for it? Which one the user can edit it? Which values are not? Or am I overthinking it? Because it's just like it could be that's what we offer.
Yeah,
This is
this was the entire goal of Change Job API, right? We kind of like Change Job API has a minimal set of knobs,
yeah,
minimal set of configuration you can adjust to submit the job. We introduced pod template overrides just for flexibility. But eventually, Change Job, the goal is just to have, like, APIs which Emily needs to adjust, right? And everything else they don't need to touch, right? Um,
yeah.
yeah, Annie, go ahead. You have a up.
Yeah, just answering your question that you asked a while ago regarding this PR that you created. My opinion is that if there is a need or blocker for users, then we just go ahead and merge the PR with custom trainer container, and then take our time to properly design such proposal.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, again, like, I'm fine to break API for SDK because I think, like, we're still kind of in evaluating stage, and I can definitely talk more about timelines from the adoption. I kind of like more curious, like, from your side, because you guys also trying to productionize this. Like, do you only try to productionize the function part and then extend it, or right now you're kind of in the phase of just doing POCs and evaluating multiple experiences? Like, what are your
When you're saying the custom, you mean the custom trainer, or is
yeah.
that
So when you
okay.
when you try to offer Kubeflow SDK for, like, your users, like, how they're going to
Yeah.
interact right now?
So yeah, custom trainer is very convenient because I mean it's very flexible and but we are also extending it with some built-in trainer that we have like in the product to include some of the training libraries that we are working on.
Okay.
So that touches also on the one aspect that we discussed a while ago, like the ability to register user provided trainer, like in one way or another, like to be able to extend more dynamically the SDK
Yeah.
would be
But you don't see a huge need for an image, right now, like, for user to bash it.
for your user to build a custom, well, transparently for the user, the mechanism that snapshot the working directory to include their like local training scripts. That is to me very useful. Like that's one of the very nice functionality that Array provide, where you can pass in the runtime environment, you can pass you can point to the working directory, and then it archive the working directory and it upload the archive. That is it's a bit different than the discussion of the hierarchy, but it's a very useful functionality to me.
That's right. Yeah, and go ahead. I just want to give Rob some time to talk about this cap, but you can talk. But yeah, go ahead.
Touching on that, we're also looking into implementing a new training hub trainer, which is integration with our team to provide some of the really cool algorithms for machine learning engineers. So maybe because Sat is proposing these kind of new trainers, maybe it will work well, and maybe there will be a need to push it upstream. So maybe at some point we'll discuss that. Yeah, that's it.
That makes sense. Let me definitely talk about it, like, with internally and just to figure out, because I know, multiple users, multiple kind of, users, they want to, or maybe platform engineers managing those images differently. And it's really hard to, make this experience kind of work for everyone. But image kind of well-known concept, but yeah, so go ahead.
In 1 minute, because of we need to give the floor to Rob. So we're building an image. We're allowing image to be customized because we would like to allow the user to copy their workspace into the image, right?
Yes, and also allow platform engineers to give user an image so they can iterate, right? So maybe
Okay.
there's some automation which we don't have in upstream, but they have this automation to build an image basically.
I was just thinking if we have like a script, if you would like to upload your image, that script will be inside your runtime image and like act as a server at the beginning to upload your script if it works. I don't know, like something to stream the file without the need to build the image, just a stream, and once it's
Yeah.
streamed, it kind of terminates.
Yeah,
And then
we've talked about that. It's
okay.
it's a quite complex topic, because you can have queue that so
yeah.
that makes it so that you don't necessarily have an easy way. But we can maybe we can let the remaining of the meeting for Rob maybe to quickly.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
follow up on
Yes.
this.
Yeah,
because
on
that's
the
a large
PR.
topic.
Rob, you can go ahead. Sorry for skipping a lot of time for this.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm not sure exactly how much time we'll need here. I guess I was sort of hoping to just highlight this KEP that we've created. Would it be useful for me to go through it in a little bit of detail to outline, what we're?
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen, or want me to share my screen?
I'm happy for you to share the screen. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, just a high level. Essentially, what I think Antonin opened a ticket a while ago for showing progress for training jobs and being able to show the training metrics in real time. And this is the corresponding KEP for that. And the proposal that we're suggesting that we do is that we make some changes to the train job status. We add a new field where we can expose this information. It's all optional. So some train jobs might have it available. Some train jobs might not have it available. But we are describing what that API might look like, and then also how we might actually instrument the runtime pods to actually display that or generate that information. In terms of technical approach, the one that we're kind of proposing is to rely on the logs. So get a primary pod of the train job runtime to periodically be instrumented to write out the current status of the job. So this might be something like using transformers callback or some other callbacks that the framework has already available. And then in the controller, we monitor those logs and look for these messages and then update the training status. So there's another part of the proposal, which is the change to the runtime, which is to the SDK, which is how we're proposing to actually instrument the changes. That I think we would really like some feedback on it, because I think Sati sort of brought up that there are a couple of different options here, and you guys have got your own sort of thoughts and objectives there. So we'd be really interested in getting some feedback on what's a good way to implement this and what's going to be sustainable moving forward. So yeah, I guess that's the high level pitch. I'm happy to sort of go into any more detail.
Yeah, I do have some questions, but anyone else maybe want to ask any questions? Maybe from your side on the API perspective, you have any? Yeah, go ahead. Go first.
Actually, so I have quickly checked this cap for now. So first of all, my thought is, it seems so application code specific parameter will be stored in range of custom resource in this cap, right? Because some of the metrics result is stored in the status field. So as mentioned in enhancement proposal issue, I would vote to the API aggregation layer as opposed to this custom resource status field. This is my first thought.
Can you help me understand what you mean by the API aggregation layer?
So as Anthony described in issue for this proposal, yeah, so maybe so Anthony can describe more.
Yeah, on that point, I think the Kubernetes provide a mechanism that's called, and you tell me, Yuki, if that's what you have in mind. And I remember I mentioned it as an alternative, an API service where you can somewhat expose, an operator can expose a custom REST API that can be queried through the Kubernetes API server. And that's so that's a different way to expose. So one example for those people, or maybe Android, so you know it very well. QQ has it like for the visibility API, right, UK, where you can get the position of the jobs, the workload in the cluster
Yes.
queues. We can yeah, we can maybe touch on that. The one thing that I'd like to mention, in addition to what Rob said, I think to me I see a connection to what Katib does. So Katib provide a mechanism to surface metrics from runtimes and to some of the Katib APIs. So the Katib does it for being able to feed the optimizer or the hyperparameter optimizer or algorithm. So that proposal is somewhat close to it. So if we were to try to be like coherent or consistent with what Katib does, that would be somewhat a pros for the proposal that Rob has currently described. Like, and I'll pause after that. And really, like, if I feel, but this is where probably Yuki and Andre, you have like more historical background or more like expertise on that. It's really similar to what Katib does in essence. And I feel it still would be useful that we would have similar mechanism on the train job API, in the sense that for UIs client, it's very convenient to have that kind of information. Yeah. So on the Katib side, I don't want to. I'll pause there, but we can rediscuss that on how we find a common ground with Katib API.
You go ahead.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point for Katib specifications. However, we are observing current Khatib mechanism. For example, the Khatib trial is a very big training process. Sometimes custom resource uh, um, sometimes Khatib stores a very number of metrics in custom resource, which means exceeds 5 gigabyte, which is a limitation of etcd. So I would like to propose the couple metrics storing mechanism from CLD status field. And so I would propose API service mechanism.
Yeah, I think so. In Kdb, we only store aggregation of the metrics, and we don't store all the metrics because of etcd limitation. I think the question would be, do we want to store, like, do we want to rely on some sort of metadata storage or, some sort of registry for the metrics, or we want to put them directly on the status, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's indeed like the proposal is really like to have a very straightforward way to get access to those metrics without relying on metadata or registry, which is a different like part of the stack. Like you have a MLflow model registry, they do it perfectly.
Yeah.
But having the current metric is quite convenient for some use cases. Rather than for example, UI to have to query like another registry generally when the UI they list the train job, and it's convenient that by with the same process they get access to the current metric. On the explosion of the size of the metric, yeah, I can see it can happen, but there are fairly simple mechanism to mitigate that, like even CRD validation. You can, for example, put some hard value on the number of metrics that are exposed and on the size of each values string. So that would be, I think that there is no like perfect solution to that. It's a compromise that you have to find. Yeah, it's not. It's a convenient mechanism. It has to be contained to like a small scope. It should not be. It's not aimed at replicating the full-blown scope of ML registry, metadata registry like MLflow, etc. One thing that I can add is there is still the question also on how you extract the runtime, the metric from the runtime. That is a comment I've made, but it's not at the moment in the version of the proposal that Rob is sharing. It's the mechanism that Khatib exposed in the API, like that metric collector spec. I think it could be reused if we were to go with that proposal, like to give the flexibility on how the runtime can expose the metric. And now with that approach, one thing that I think would be nice is that you could probably have Khatib without a DB, which I think would be quite convenient because same like now you have Khatib that has its own metadata registry. You have MLflow model registry, so they all have their own DB. With such a mechanism, you could imagine that with Khatib driving the train job, you could imagine that you could have Khatib without DB. Like
I think, yeah. So for sure, I think like the usefulness of this definitely would be for Khatib as well. I mean, I 100%
yeah,
agree.
right. Yeah.
And the question would be like whether users need to get the entire metrics history.
No,
To have
absolutely no. It's really not. It's really not about having the history
Yeah.
there. It's really the current metric. Yeah.
I kind of like my question was, I know we like almost over time, but my question more about collection. Like I think we need to kind of investigate a way whether this Khatib proposal of how Khatib collects metrics is the right thing, because we're using sidecar there, and we kind of like the stream data. We do some a lot of hacking.
Yeah.
A lot of,
So that's a good point. The API I find it quite nice. The Khatib the metric collector spec. it's quite flexible, like the way you can say the runtime is going to provide me a log in the standard output or dump the metric in a well-known file location. That is
Yeah.
the API. Now, the how you consume it is different. That is going to be different. Like with that proposal, it's the trainer operator that actually use that information to either watch the logs or run some exec command to read the file. You're not going to have a sidecar that would
Okay.
do that logic. So you could imagine a very simple architecture actually, where you would have Katib, or I mean, with that metric collector spec, and then that would be the trainer that would use that information to pick into the runtime. So whether that's if that's a standard output as configured with that metric collector spec, it would read the log, the watch the log, for example. If that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say so. So like, but in that case, if user doesn't redirect logs, does it mean that controller needs to read the logs directly from the host? Because the pod log storing on the host, right? And
No,
this.
no, yeah. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it has to be coordinated. That's where the metric collector spec, I think, is a good like solution. Where, I mean, if the user does that, it has to use another mechanism to provide access of to those metrics to the trainer.
So I think we have two ways, right? So we have a way when controller, the control plane exec to the pods or exec to the file and read metrics and
Yes,
train
yes, yeah,
security. And then
yeah,
we also,
yeah.
I think, have a way to auto log from the train job by itself. I don't think it's a good practice, right? From the
Yeah,
yeah. From the
but in that case, that's a bit if we want to, which I think is the core decision we will make with that cap. If we want to have those metric, the current metric publish in the train job status, or even in the in an API service, for example, with the as you say, like with the autolog approach, it's going to be hard to do it without a middleman or without some other part of the stack, like something that would be, and also then you have to have some airbag concern there, because that thing has to have the proper
Yep,
permission.
that's right.
While using doing really with the controller, the trainer operator is convenient because you have the service account, it's clear,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I think we definitely should talk more about it because
yeah, yeah.
I saw the feature with pool-based metrics collection, Katib, because you still have this kind of async problems when you you want to perform pooling, but your
Yes,
application code actually
yeah,
is some
yeah, yeah,
writing a lot of data there, right?
yeah.
And that might be not. Maybe it's a good thing. It's so ML flow autolog just injecting directly in the libraries, right? In the PyTorch libraries,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely. But then it pushes to a registry, like,
yeah, I see.
and you have to
I was
you have that.
yeah. I was wondering like whether we should have any some sort of same capabilities with those libraries. Because I know those libraries, for example, they have integration with Flight, they have integration with ThermalFlow, they have integration with weight and biases. Maybe they should have integration with Kubeflow. Like for example, like in transformers, I'm talking about yeah.
Yeah, but that is the registry. That is Kubeflow registry, basically.
So yeah. So you're talking about like, if we in the transformers, framework by itself
Yes. Yeah.
integrate report to Kubeflow, we need to have a registry, right? To push metrics to, right?
Yeah, yeah, that would be, because to me that would be the really the analogous to the other part that you said, like weight and biases, MLflow. It would be that, but in our case, it's a bit different what we are trying to do there. Like it's
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
it's really only for the runtime, as Katib really needs. It needs at least even Katib, it's even a bit less than that, because it only needs the metric at the completion of the trials. It does not really
Not all
need
the
the.
time, unfortunately. Like for early stop.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, for
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
And early stopping also might be useful, for training.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's the point. It's really useful for training, like for the trainer.
I think early
But it's
stopping also interesting use case when we can think about, top overfitting, like especially for
yeah,
fine.
absolutely, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And that's the reason why it'd be convenient to have them in a more accessible way than a registry is different.
Yeah.
Like it's really for the historical and long-term like tracking, experimentation tracking. That is really not some. It's really for integrating components and UI. It's really only for that for the current metrics.
Yes, I'll go ahead.
Just a quick question about like Matt's old proposal about MLflow. Is that gone? Is that still
No, it's still in
open?
progress. So we're still working with Matt to integrate MLflow with KFP and other Kubeflow components, and even Kubeflow SDK. So this is still in progress, and I think we also need to be aligned with them, because if we say MLflow is the main tool for us to perform like registry for metrics,
Yeah.
we need to see how well this works with this proposal.
Now, to me it's really orthogonal that. So on the instrumentation part, I think like that there is that pattern that Katip implemented. I think is quite nice. It's only for the retrieval, the instrumentation.
Yeah.
Now on how you read that is different. Like the proposal, it's not about sidecar. It's really at the trainer level that would pick into using that Katib-like metric collector spec. Then the open point is, yes, we could either expose those in the status, in the CRD, or in an API service.
Yeah, because we could store this metric as MLflow, right? We can say we depend on MLflow and should have MLflow instance to, like to have this feature. And then controller just reads metrics from MLflow, right? Instance.
Yeah, but that's that's the path we didn't want to go, in the sense that, well, you have to have MLflow, and then you have to correlate, because basically what's going to happen is that you're going to have a UI that lists your train jobs. Then you have to make sure, I mean, that UI somewhat will have to have a backend so that it can call the MLflow, whatever experimentation or tracking registry, to make sure it correlates with the right experiment and get the latest metric for it.
Yeah.
It feels to me, I don't know, like it feels it's worth having a more simple and real time that does not have any dependency on experimentation tracking. And actually, you could really achieve near real time, like a push base, even with logs. Like if you watch the logs, the operator will get the latest very quickly, and then the client will watch the train job resources and will get the current metric with a very low latency.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is great. Like, let's definitely follow up on this. Like, I've also take a look. I think like maybe we should, get those guys in sync as well. So there can be, like KFP folks like Matt and Humair who are actually working on, and Ramesh as well and Matteo. Maybe they can take a look. And I agree with you. There are kind of two orthogonal work streams which can going on. I just want us to be kind of in sync with all those different work streams
Makes
across
sense, yeah.
Kubeflow, right? But I agree that that this was super helpful for like many different use cases, even like outside of HPO or for training, for like literally for everything. Let's definitely follow up for this. And if we can explore any other ways, to make it more reliable, like like the watch for the file, or maybe do better what we do in Katib, I think that will be also very helpful. Because I think like the idea of control is interesting.
And that part would really be, I think, like using either exec request or watch logs request.
Yeah. Like how like we need to probably like see the latency, right, for exec, and what will be like more performant, right, on the large scale.
Well, the watch log would be with very low latency. The exec, it would be more like pool based probably, but
Makes sense. All right, I think this is great. Thanks again, Rob, and into driving this. I think this is a super helpful feature. Let's follow up with any other last questions before we wrap up.
I do have one note.
Yeah.
So just to let you all know that Fiona and I are working on writing a blog post to introduce Kubeflow SDK, so that we'll have like one place where we can point our users to especially having so many features in Kubeflow SDK. So I've added the link to the document with the GitHub issue where we outline the content for this blog post. So please take a look and let us know what you think, and we'll share the document, Google document with initial content with you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for this. I will also share this and Q will discuss so we can get additional feedback on the blog post. That's great. I think next meeting we're going to cancel because I have a KubeCon. So in any case, like for those who will be in KubeCon, I hope I will be there. But in any case, like, we have a call next week for the SDK. Please feel free to join. But the next call will be, I think, after KubeCon once we have all this announcement going on. All right, let's hope we can make a release. And like, let's, super excited to see all the demos going on in the couple of weeks for the trainer and other projects, right? Thanks, everyone. See you
Thank you.
soon.
Thank you.